Good evening, you handsome lot. We're on the ramp today. We've got a 2018 Skoda. I don't know what it is, but it's one of these. It has done 39,000 miles, and the customer is complaining of that the vehicle is overheating. Now, I had this vehicle in last week before I went to the NEC for Auto Mechanica. Now, I had the car ticking over. It was on that four-poster over there, probably ticking over for about an hour. So I rung a customer up, and this is where you need to be a little bit of a detective when you're trying to find faults. So I was ticking over on the ramp for an hour. Temperature gauge was absolutely perfect. We got no coolant loss whatsoever. So I rang him up and I said, "Hi mate, this car of yours, can you tell me exactly how, when, what sort of driving you're doing when it's overheating?" And he said, "Well, to be honest with you, we haven't got to go too far," he said, "and the temperature gauge is going up and up and up." So I was like, right, let's get it off the ramp, let's take it for a drive. And I literally got no more than 3/4 of a mile, and the temperature gauge went from halfway straight up to probably overheating at that point. Now, there's a lot of you already know where this is about to go. Now, first things first, we need to disconnect the battery negative first, because we're going to be getting the timing belt and water pump off this car, and I'm going to show you exactly why this car is doing what it's doing. I've now got the vehicle fully raised, belly fan is now off, and I'm just draining the coolant out of the engine. This car is like brand new underneath. Okay. Driver's side wheel is removed, and also the front half of the splash guard gives us access to the crank pulley and also the alternator belt tensioner. You don't need any special tools other than a little bit of a pin. Now, this pin is of a tensioner and an EcoBoost, and it fits perfect. Give the belt a bit of a pull, slip your pin in, belt off. Simple. Right, the vehicle is now dropped down to working height. Now, we do need to go ahead, remove the coolant tank and the fuel filter. You can just pull them out the way, but I like to just take them off so you've got as much room as possible. That now is everything out of the way. Now, I do use these little blanking caps to put over the ends of the coolant pipes and fuel pipes, because last week there's diesel going everywhere, and also they are on the fuel pipes. You can put that out of the way, and we've got no risk now of spillages. We can go ahead and just get this engine mount off. But before I do, I have attached the under vehicle engine support. So we haven't got to faff about with the jack getting in the way. We've now got the engine mount out of the way, and that engine is nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. Now, I know a lot of people, when they take these upper timing covers off, they just bend them sensors at the back out of the way. Don't ever bend them. Take them out. Take them out. And also, the DPF pressure pipes, we've got to get these off as well. Well, I'm now in a position where we can get this engine timed up. Obviously, I have raised it up just to get that lower timing cover off. Just make things so much easier for yourself. Well, that little nipple there, it's probably not far off. I'm going to have to adjust it in a second, because we do need to get the camshaft timed up there, and there is a tool which I'll show you in a second. Let's get round now to timing this engine up. Now, we have got the tool. Now, one of the pins goes in the camshaft. It is hard for me to show you there, so we'll show you on all data. We also go down to the bottom, and there's one that fits on. Where's it gone? Come on. One that fits on the bottom around the crank pulley. Just see where that little nipple was, which is that little dimple there, and it locks into that plastic housing, oil pump housing with that. Now, this next part is where a lot of people go wrong, and it ends up damaging water pumps or idlers or something like that, not long after they've fitted the timing belt. And it's releasing the tension or slackening the camshaft and fuel pump sprockets off. Undo the T30. Get your tool to hold the camshaft. Now, I have modified mine. Put a little bit of a cutout in it so it fits over the T30. So you've taken it all the way out. That slides in. Now we can just slacken off the camshaft. And also the same applies for the fuel pump. Now these timing pins, I've been asked before, why do I take the balls off the end of them? It's just for access. Just for a little bit of access to get tools in. When you are slackening those camshafts off, make sure that your tools are on correctly, because the last thing you want is them slipping. And just opposite action, and it will just slacken off. No need to take the bolt all the way out. It is generally just got to be slacked off half a turn. And the same applies for the fuel pump. Do not rely on that pin there to hold that pulley. I don't know whether you can see it. I'll show you in a second anyway, because I will take that pulley off. Once you've done all that, jump on your 15 anyway, 15 millimeter, and then we can go ahead and just pull that timing belt off out of the way. A little bit, like that. And that is a condition of a 39,000 mile timing belt. Absolutely perfect. Now, before we take this vehicle up in the air and carry out the rest of the procedure from underneath, make sure that you unplug that water pump. There's an electric little plug on it. Make sure that you do that, because I've had it before now where I've been underneath, disconnected it, and it's like, oh, I've got to drop it down again. Faff about. Always disconnect that. With the vehicle back in the air, get your receptacle ready for when we remove that water pump. We get on that engine support now. Let that engine down and get some M8s, I think, and get that pump off. Right, now with all it, they were actually M10s, weren't they? So we've removed all three of them now. Now sometimes, oh, let's get all this coolant out. Give it a second. Into our lovely little receptacle. We don't like a mess, do we? Oh, we got mess. Oh.
You have to leave that go, mate. You're not going to make both of them.
No. Oh, we've made mess. Oh, we got mess. Heartbroken now. Heartbroken. But anyway, on these water pumps, they have got a little shroud. And sometimes they can spring back, so we're going to be careful pulling it out. And just as I thought, that water pump shroud has stuck over the water pump impeller. Now what happens is, they do get stuck, but just give it a little bit of a, oh no. Sometimes they go back, sometimes they don't. But no, there we go. That is why this vehicle is overheating. Let's go ahead now and get the brand new one so I can show you exactly what they should be looking like. Now, of course, I am using my preferred Schaeffler. Full timing kit, comes with everything that I need. And I've used them for years. New one. Can we see? Compared to the old one, side by side. You see it? I'll probably turn that picture into a thumbnail. I don't know. But anyway, that is what it should be like. Try and avoid, as tempting as it is, to pull it and push it in and out with your fingers, because you could damage it. And the last thing you want doing is this car going down the road, 250 miles. Oh, my car's overheating again. Why? It's because you've probably pushed that up and down. Brand new water pump is now fitted and torqued up to spec. Now, in the new timing belt kit, you do get these little studs. Now, I know a lot of people go, yeah, change them. No, don't change them. If this vehicle was of a higher mileage, I would 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, change them. But because it's only done a low mileage, and then when you come on to information, where have we gone? Number 8. I'm down to number 8. Only replaced if damaged. Now, before we go ahead and assembling this engine, what we're going to be doing is giving everything a little bit of a clean with some brake and clutch cleaner, because the last thing you want is any of that coolant flicking up, splashing around on that timing belt and contaminating it. Make sure it is nice and clean. Everything underneath is now done. Let's concentrate on the top end. Now, remember me saying at the beginning of the video, I removed that fuel pump sprocket, and the reason for it, on the older vehicles, it does get a lot of rust build-up behind there. And when you come to put the tension on it, it doesn't turn smoothly. So I do like to take them off and just give them a little bit of a clean. But this one is Oh, it's like brand new, isn't it? It's only done less than 40,000 miles. I'll get this put back on. Tensioner is on, which I'll show you a little trick for now in a second. Right, let's put this back on. Now, regarding the tensioner, before you put the belt on, I've spoke to a lot of people. Oh, these belts, they can be awfully tight to put on. They're not. Get your 6mm Allen key, put it in the tensioner, push it back on itself, and then nip it up. Leave your Allen key in, and that will keep that tensioner further back, so you can get the belt on. If that makes sense. Before we put said timing belt on, make sure that both pulleys are fully clockwise. So as you put the belt on and you put your tension on, both pulleys will turn ever so slightly to get the correct tension on it. And if you're doing this wrong, if you're not slackening your pulleys off, I can guarantee you will be damaging the tensioners, idlers, rollers, whatever you want to call them. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done right. Timing belt is now on. Let me get my 15mm spanner. Let's get this belt tensioned up. Hold your Allen key. Slacken it off. Chuck that one out of the way. And then we can get your 6mm. That was the wrong size, sorry, that I put down there. Then we can turn the tensioner in the way the arrow is pointing. Can you see the pulleys moving? Come round now. You should see there's a little pointer down here. And that will come round. And to get that in the middle, I'm going to get a torque wrench and torque it up 20 newton meters and then 45 degrees. After you've torqued everything up, fuel pump, camshaft, even the little locking bolts, whatever you want to call it, your pins, if you have to force them out, it's wrong. Well, it's not wrong. That now pulls out gently, and that pulls out nice and gently. And also the crank locking pin, pull it out nice and gently. Now what we're going to do now is just put some reference marks on the camshaft, fuel pump, and also the crank as well to save you putting the tools in. Spin it over by hand and make sure that everything is aligned up correctly. Now what I'd like to do, I don't know whether it's my OCD, but I always, whenever I'm fitting timing belts, just put the writing in between the pulleys. Just something that I always do. I tell you what, outside now the weather it's gone awfully dark in here. So anyway, it's gone miserable. Miserable. If I would have known it was going to be like this afternoon, I wouldn't have got my chicken legs out. But anyway, back to business. Back to business. I've spun the engine over, and all my marks are lining up correctly. Now, I'm not going to bore you putting this vehicle back together, so I think I'm going to just chuck it into a little bit of a time lapse. And there we go, with a little bit of magic, that car is all back together. Now for an important part of filling the system. Now it is kind of a bit of a nightmare, but if you have got one of these kits, you're going to save yourselves a lot of work. And all it does, pulls a vacuum on the system, couple it to your airline. If you haven't got an airline system in your shop or van or whatever it is, this tool's probably not going to work for you. Flick that button, and that will pull a vacuum. And once it goes just probably halfway into the yellow, I will then flick the switch a little bit, like that. I like to leave that vacuum kit on for about 10 minutes just to make sure that we've got no leaks whatsoever, but that gives me enough time to come underneath the vehicle, take all my engine support off. Simple as that. Or just take the chain off the subframe. We can drop the car down and hopefully get on the key and give it a big start. After you've left the tool a little bit, all we've got to do, make sure you get the correct coolant for the vehicle, flick that switch, and that will then fill that coolant system without any bleeding whatsoever. Well, I think now we're at a position where we can get on the key and give it a big start. Fresh coolant, all the fuel lines, coolant pipes have all got their little clips on and back where they should be. Now, whenever I've done a timing belt, and I don't show this, and I don't know why I should do really, after I've built the engine up and put all the covers and stuff back on, I do like to just get on the crank and wind it over a couple of times and make sure that there's nothing catching. But anyway, ignition on. Bloody close the door and another beep goes off. Anyway, and another one. That one there is only because we've had the battery disconnected. Once you're going left to right, it'll calibrate the steering angle sensor. But anyway, ignition on and off a couple of times just to prime that fuel system. And now we should get on the key. And there we go. That car now is starting and running like a little single sewing machine. Now while that car is ticking over and getting up to temperature, all I'm going to be doing is taking it up in the air, splash guard back on wheels and on the trays. The car is now back on the floor and everything is sounding as it should be. Now I have got my thermal camera just to show you that engine is getting up to temperature and the water is circulating. If we go inside the vehicle, you can see the vents getting nice and hot. Right, let's take this down the road and go to a proper test of a test drive. I can safely say that I am further away from the garage now than when I was when I first took it out a week ago to find the fault. Temperature gauge hasn't moved, the car's driving perfectly, we've got no warning lights on the dashboard. I'm happy, and I'm sure the customer's going to be happy. I'm going to get back to the workshop. I've got that much, so I've got to try and get now a gearbox back in, a little Fiesta EcoBoost. 6-speed, bearings have gone in it, really noisy. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this video and you haven't clicked subscribe, please hit that subscribe and like, and I will definitely see you all on the next video. Take it easy, and let's get it sent.